From the Daily Mail. I love how they've headlined this. Can you spot the unusual feature of Trump's security detail at the RNC 2 days after assassination attempt? Yeah, no women. Yeah. So Time magazine wrote, what to know about women in Secret Service as critics blame DEI for Trump's shooting. I don't like that excuse. There's too many abnormalities that, actually, I don't even want to say the word abnormality. The circumstances around the Trump assassination attempt do not align with the idea of a lone gunman who got lucky. It doesn't make sense. Now, I don't know what that does mean. We'll need an investigation, subpoenas, whistleblowers, etc. But many people are criticizing that Trump had, like 4 women in his Secret Service detail. Now, apparently, the woman that everyone is highlighting on the left isn't a part of Trump's traditional detail, and she was additional security that ran to his aid and did not know what their plans were. So I don't think in that regard, it's fair to criticize. I do think, however, it is fair to criticize that these women are not large enough to provide Trump cover, who is like a 6'1" large man. And when these women are trying to surround him, I mean, look, it's honorable. These people use their bodies as shields for the people that we care about, but they're not large enough people. Yeah. And so outside of any training or whatever, I believe that this was an inappropriate detail.
What do you make of the Jill Biden? They shifted some people to a Jill Biden event not that far away.
How many drive? He was there.
Yep.
How many were there versus
the Joe Biden event?
Yeah. So it's.
The Secret Service has said, oh, no, everything was fine. We didn't divert resources away from Trump. You know, and it's hard to believe the Secret Service right now. Like when they're like, no, we have debunked that.
They're saying that they had a security threat from Iran on the day of the assassination.
Is that really true? They said that?
Okay, they'll say a whole bunch of stuff. They'll tell you that there's weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. They'll tell you anything they want to tell you. But to me, this is a total distraction. So they even admit themselves there was a lot of specific warnings.
Everybody watches, and I think Fox News edited this out. But you guys heard him say, what do we do? Did you guys hear that?
I didn't hear that.
Who said what?
You didn't hear that when they jumped on
The woman said, what are we doing?
They said, yeah, what are we doing?
It was the woman said, what are we doing?
You don't think that's a little weird? You don't think they game plan?
No, hold on this detail.
And this will come up with, because we already did the interview with Lauren Boebert. Representative Boebert was here, and we have a pre-recorded interview, which we'll air in a little bit. But she points out that this woman's not on that detail.
Yeah,
But I
what are we doing? I don't know.
You're standing in the way.
You're trying to over-communicate with the people. You know, you don't know what just went on. There was just an assassination attempt.
Pick them up immediately, you take them.
It's just like, all right, are we secure? Did they kill the shooter?
What you're saying
is
Trump has a security detail that has a plan. This woman is not a part of that detail. She ran to provide additional assistance.
But you look at what happened. They allowed him to stand up during an active shooter situation and address the crowd.
Never should have happened.
Compare this to what happened in Reagan in 81. They had him out in a blink of an eye. You compare the response times. You compare how they acted. Completely different, and it's inexcusable. It's absolutely something that we shouldn't accept at all.
I think some of that comes down to the fact that a lot of the people there were women. I'm not saying it's not brave if you're not on that detail to rush the stage and do what you can. We can acknowledge that. That's good. But the biggest issue for me is that, they cannot physically shield this person. If that's what we are saying with the people who are front lines right around Trump, that's what their job is to do. Trump is what, 6'1", 6'2"? It doesn't matter. Like, he's very tall. You have to be logical here. You need someone who is taller than him, bigger than him, who can form that protective wall. I mean, I know there were female Secret Service agents attached to, like, the Bush daughters detail and other places. It's not that there aren't places for women to be in the Secret Service if that's what, someone wants to do. The issue is literally logical. Can these people shield the person they're supposed to protect? And if the answer is no, then we have a problem.
Yeah, a woman, I think, can take a bullet just as good as a man can. I don't really have an issue with women being in Secret Service. I know that people may disagree with me. But the implication is that when you have a literal quota of 30%, we want to have 30% women, then the natural question is, as it always is with DEI and gender and race initiatives, is that the question is, are you perhaps lowering standards?
You have to.
Right. Look at what they do in the military, right? Yeah. Half of these people could never pass the physical requirements that they used to have to do 8 years ago. And so that's the bigger concern for me is like, how low is the bar now to meet a number?
I just want to say, look, these ladies, look at this picture. Let's pull this picture back up. They can't lift Donald Trump.
No shot.
Well,
they can't lift themselves.
They deserve every right as every other person, and I wish them long, happy lives. I think there's a role for them in the Secret Service that matters, but it's certainly not with Donald Trump.
That's more than 50% women in that picture.
It is. That's right.
And they can't, when we talk about Trump being on the stage for as long as he was, right? Like somebody said to me, oh, well, he was there because they didn't want to move him when there was an active shooter. Like to me, this seems very odd. And one of the things that I immediately thought after I saw the video was like, oh, because it's majority women, they cannot physically push him off stage. And that's a problem, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't let these women watch my dog.
But you don't let anybody watch your dog.
Come on.
Yeah. I think we
I'm
could all
serious.
certainly let them
she
watch
could
my
barely
dog.
holster her firearm correctly.
Well, guys, it's not even about
she's
the women,
bumbling
though.
around. No, I'm sorry. That's inexcusable.
Guys, but we're talking about the women. They have drone surveillance. There's only one perch that is even accessible to shooting the president in that entire place in Pennsylvania.
It's security.
I mean, what is going on? I mean, it doesn't matter how many lesbians you have there. They had a serious issue of insubordination by not having somebody there.
Wait. Like, can we just point this out that the scenario being presented in the press that they want it to be is that women are the reason they didn't secure quite literally the only sniper vantage point to the president. Like if you were going to secure an area with one building next to it, it's not a hard job to do. And they're coming out being like, well, maybe, there's no women
Even
anymore.
a woman could do it, too.
Well,
Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that I don't think that the narrative of a crazed gunman climbed in a building makes sense because there's one building to secure and they did not.
Well, they were inside the building, so is that good enough?
Nobody heard,
that was one of the weirdest things to
What's
me.
going on the roof?
Yeah,
What is that?
They hear footsteps
Santa
and they're
Claus.
like, oh, crazy.
What about the footage of the snipers moving the tripod? Do you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? You guys,
They recoiled, they went back,
were
and
the
they
ones
tried
that
to
took
hide.
out the shooter. Call me a conspiracy theorist. I don't think they were the ones that took him out.
It could have been the cops.
That's what I think.
Those two in the picture, I don't think. I think it was local.
No, I do not think.
Yeah.
those
No,
two in this
and
picture took
again,
him out.
I'm going to refer to this ABC interview that Kimberly Cheadle, the director of the Secret Service, did yesterday, and she said the buck stops with me, and it's our responsibility as Secret Service to protect the former president. But we weren't in charge of securing that building. That was local police. Like she's immediately shifting the blame away from herself, and again, that begs the question: like, if it was a local state trooper or anything else who took out that the shooter, doesn't he deserve some sort of recognition and credit? Like, hopefully these things come out because the Secret Service is somehow both claiming credit, and there were obviously brave agents who took action that day, but overall, they seem to have failed.
I think we could widely agree that the Secret Service and law enforcement failed on every level here. I think one of the more troubling things to deal with, though, is that most congressmen and senators, I think almost none, have security. So only, former presidents and their first ladies and some of their family really has the Secret Service. And I don't know what this means for those people. We've seen the political climate get more heated recently. Nancy Pelosi's husband was attacked recently. I think there was an attack against one of the Supreme Court justices. Of course, the congressional baseball game a handful of years ago.
People forgot that one real quick.
What does this say for those people? If allegedly a lone gunman can get through Secret Service, what does that say for everybody else?
I just want to stress that if I were to write a script and this was the story, they'd be like, I know you're writing a fiction action movie, but this is not believable. Like, at least make it a little realistic.
Well, and Kimberly Cheadle was on Biden's detail when he was vice president, from what I read in the statement when he acknowledged her appointment. And so there has to be a level of at one point you were theoretically good at this. I mean, nothing happened to him. What happened now where this agency seems to be in disarray?
Can we give a shout out to, I think, Elon's absolutely epic burn of reminding people that she was previously in charge of defending Cheetos before defending the president?
She went from
worked for
Biden.
PepsiCo.
Yeah, she went from the
Biden-
Biden administration to PepsiCo.
Yeah.
PepsiCo is one of the most powerful companies on the planet.
No, that's true. That's true.
It is true, though, right? Yeah, so it was a demotion.
Yeah.
She got promoted to PepsiCo.
She must have screwed up at Pepsi.
I mean, could you imagine if Pepsi was actually behind this?
We need whistleblowers
we're-
at Pepsi.
Well, I'm kidding. Obviously, they're not. But it's funny that she changes jobs, and there's always jokes about revolving doors in politics, and it's like she takes his position. It was Pepsi the whole time. I'm kidding, guys. Pepsi's delicious. Calm down. I just love that the excuse now. Why isn't Time Magazine writing the article saying, hey, no reasonable person could conclude that one guy was able to pull this off? Instead, they're like, critics are coming out blaming women. Perhaps it was the women's fault. And then you've got the article from Daily Mail being like, Trump no longer has women. So I think
could have been a coincidence, too.
Well, for sure. But I think they will make DEI the very easy scapegoat because conservatives will eat it up.
Which also means that that's like the thing they're willing to sacrifice first, right? They're so dedicated to it, but they're like, actually, that's to blame. It can't possibly be us being bad at this.
Look at Microsoft today, right? I'm sure it's just a coincidence, but since DEI is a literal like hot button get out of jail free card right now, Microsoft's like, we're just banning our entire DEI department. Like, I wonder what's coming down the pipeline from Microsoft that they're gonna clear them out.
I got to show this video. Everyone's got to see it. This is it says at Point Consciousness posted this. Jedi Hill posted the video. This is a slow motion. They wireframe Trump's head. Then they show an overhead view, a 3D rendering of the path of the bullet and Trump's movements literally 2 or 3 seconds before. And watch this.
Take a look what happened.
Wow.
Take a look.
This is what's really fascinating. When the head on the bottom is an overhead shot of a wireframe of Trump's face, it really does track. See the head tilt? The head on the bottom tilts slightly at an angle towards the left. Trump's head up top does exactly that. There's the head tilt. And then the bullet hit his ear. If Trump did not tilt his head that way, look, it would have gone right through his head.
Right, and if
that's how
through his eye, through his eye socket.
This is literally how close we came to full pandemonium and to the end of America. This would have brought up so much civil strife, so much civil conflict. We are blessed. We are extremely lucky that he tilted his head, or that there was even wind.
Well, and
the real quick, the line. It's his eye. It's through his eye. He moved slightly. That's just
it's crazy.
Insane.
And that bullet that hit him made him move farther back, because it looks like in that shot, a couple other bullets go very quickly past him again. I mean, it could have been really terrible, and yet it's just like everything fell into place. I mean, I really think it's like God intervention,
You know what
to make this happen. And you know, the thing is, Trump is a very physically courageous man. You know, there were times that protesters have gotten on stage and he's sort of like turned and gotten bigger to confront them. And it is amazing that this is the path that he is on, because I just don't know anyone who could have been hit like that, you have to go into some kind of shock.
Shows up for work
and
on
then
Monday.
be like, where are my shoes? I've got to tell this crowd I'm okay. I mean, it's truly
this piece
incredible.
Of shit went for the headshot. He didn't have to target.
He could have gone
the
for
head.
mass.
If he
Yeah,
went,
but there could have been a bulletproof vest.
Yeah, Trump wears a vest.
I don't
sure
know
he
if he's
wears a
wearing
vest,
the vest
but
here, and
still.
I don't know if it would have been able to protect him from this shot. But you're taught when you shoot to go for center of mass. I think this guy was aiming for the head, and
Well, he was. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
And look at this. This is slow motion. This is, I mean, it's crazy. Trump's head's lined up, and then within a couple seconds, this is a slow motion video from 0 to 4 seconds is when that shot rings out. And we're talking about this is slowed down to about 70, 60%. So we're looking at 2.5 seconds where Trump moves his head and what would have gone through his eye and at the back of his skull grazes his ear.
You know, they said that this kid didn't make the rifle team at his high school because he was so bad.
Is that
What
true?
does the rest of the rifle
I don't
team
know
like?
that
I know, but this is like Lee Harvey Oswald was
yeah.
just a crack shot. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
There was this-
yeah.
okay, but so he didn't make his high school shooting team or whatever?
Allegedly, yeah.
Where is the rest of this team then? Because
They
if
must
this
be
guy,
the most amazing ever.
We're hearing
Yeah.
reports that he practiced the day before.
Yeah.
A lot of people are calling him retardy Oswald, and
he wasn't too far on the roof, so he didn't even need to be that good of a
the
shot.
distance was pretty close.
I think he missed it by if you ever like start target shooting. Sometimes early you jerk the trigger a little bit and it pops.
Not on a long gun.
Too, guys.
That's what I mean. Maximum adrenaline.
A cop was confronting him and
Yeah.
like on a ladder,
rushed
so
it.
then
Yeah,
he had
you'd
to
be
rush the shot
nervous.
as well. Obviously, nerve-wracking.
But long guns are much easier for people who are beginners to learn how to use.
True.
One comment that I think makes a lot of sense is that he didn't train outdoors. He didn't compensate for wind. And so at that range, it altered the path. However, I don't know that I even care for that. When you look at that wireframe, it
was
looks
close
like
enough.
No, it looks like he did have him. And he had him lined up and he was ready to go. And then Trump went head turn and then went down, and he probably had him in his sights. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.